meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. First agenda topic, 101, call to order and introductions. Before we begin introductions, we just need to be mindful that when we're sharing our ideas or our questions or contributing to the discussion that we're using a microphone. We are being recorded for public viewing. I'll start the introductions. Welcome, and thank you for coming and joining our supplemental committee. I appreciate it. I'm Erica Daniel. I am the Executive Director for School Effectiveness. Can you have me? Broke my rule.
Loretta Zumbro, I'm the Technology Integration Coach for the district.
Zuzana Fink, Curriculum and Instruction Coordinator.
Monica Landash, Music Teacher, Estrella Mountain Elementary.
Sheila DiBattista, Kindergarten, Liberty.
Jennifer Crandall, First Grade Teacher, West Star Elementary.
Melissa Gallegos, Kindergarten, West Star Elementary.
Ashley Wright, I'm just a parent in the district.
Yay! Thank you.
Giles, Freedom, First Grade.
Carol Mosky, Reading Interventionist, Freedom.
Leza Camacho, First Grade, Blue Horizons.
Cindy Bareilles, Kindergarten, Blue Horizons.
Krista Sawicki, Second Grade, Rainbow Valley.
Rebecca Willie, I'm the Education Services Coordinator.
Wonderful. Okay, our next agenda item is 1.2, Purpose and Outcome. Our purpose is to review the quality of supplemental materials and ensure that resources used for instruction meet district criteria. Our outcomes will be review criteria, score supplemental resources, determine resources to recommend for 60-day review. So our supplemental instructional resources is defined as instructional resources intended as a supplement to the primary instructional resources to enrich and enhance the learning. Teachers may choose from among a district-approved list to take into consideration student interests, learning styles, abilities, maturity level to best meet the needs of students or student groups. Supplementary instructional resources may also serve to support gaps in curriculum alignment of primary instructional resources. Any questions? Okay, moving along to agenda item 1.3. We're going to review the criteria for scoring. The committee will discuss the criteria used to score all supplemental materials. The scoring rubric was the same for all recommended supplemental resources, and I will read each criteria quickly. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns.
The paper in front of you is from last night's math committee, so we will print off this one if you're looking for the agenda. Apologies for that.
Okay. We're doing a lot of committees lately this year. Okay, but
you guys are right there, though.
If you guys look up here at this screen, this is the rubric. The same questions were asked of all three of our resources that we are looking at today. So the first question is it aligned to the Arizona High Academic Standards? And then your choices were does not meet expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations. Any questions on the first criteria? Okay. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Scroll. Oh, finger. I just got this computer. Research shows that the program or materials are evidence-based. Does not meet expectations means it does not provide research study data. Meets expectations. Research supports but may not be peer-reviewed or show evidence of significance. Exceeds expectations. Research study is peer-reviewed and shows significant effective size. Any questions on that criteria? The next criteria is appropriate for the subject area and for age, emotional development, ability level, learning styles, and social development of students. Again, you have does not meet expectations, meets expectations, and exceeds expectations. Is everyone okay with that one? Great. The next criteria is fills gap or gaps in curriculum and or supports differentiation of learning for students so teachers can enrich, extend, remediate, or intervene. And again, it does not meet expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations. And then lastly, uses current relevant technology that further engages interactive learning and can be used in the classroom and beyond. Does not meet expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations. Any questions on that criteria? And then, of course, space for you guys to provide any additional comments for the committee to consider. Wow, we are just moving along. Next item up on our agenda is 1.4, discussion of phonics for reading levels 1 through 3. So that's finger. Okay, when we review the results, we're looking at for what the majority indicated. Phonics for Reading is a research-based reading intervention program designed to equip students in grades 3 through 12 with the confidence and tools they need to become independent readers. Phonics for Reading is available in 3 levels to support students' decoding skills, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The primary use of this resource would be reading intervention. So now we're going to go through the results, and if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate.
Thank you, sir. Just to touch on being used for intervention, is that intervention within the classrooms or intervention with the reading interventionists?
I believe the primary use would be with intervention, so with reading intervention, but that could be classroom as well.
Could be classroom as well. Okay,
Aligned to your objective.
wonderful. Thank you.
So our first one is aligned to Arizona High Academic Learning Standards. We have a meets, a strong meets and exceeds. Any questions on that criteria in scoring? Our second is research shows that the program or materials are evidence-based. We have a strong meets and exceeds on that criteria. Any questions? Is appropriate for the subject area and for the age, emotional development, ability level, learning styles, and social development of students. Again, we have an overwhelming meets and exceeds, but we do have one does not meet expectations. Does anyone have a discussion item or any clarification, questions? Yes.
So I felt that it did meet the expectations, but I will say that as I was browsing through the material, I did have questions as to what age group specifically this was going to target, because in the information provided originally, it says 3 through, I think it was 8 or 12, right? But when looking through the actual, samples that were given, it was very clear that this could be intervention for 1st, 2nd, 3rd as well. So is this something that's being looked at as an intervention option so that it's consistent for all of our kids K through 8? Or do we know?
Would anyone like to comment?
I thought the exact same thing because it said 3 through 12. And when I saw that, if it does not meet expectations, I thought some of the pictures were juvenile. So if we're looking at those older students, that may not make them feel appropriate using that material or feeling like they're being taught really low-level material. So I think that clarification would help.
So when we think about intervention and targeting specific skills, that this program does offer skills down to the Arizona standards that are appropriate for first grade. And so this is something that could be used starting at first grade, maybe even for some of our high kinders that just need a little push, or they're ready for a little bit more. But it can be used the whole span. And I think we could start at first grade.
I believe with this one, because that kind of popped out for me as well, but when I started digging a little deeper, I noticed that it says it is to help decode, so I thought it was appropriate for our younger grades as well.
Any further discussion on that item? Okay. Then it says fills gaps in curriculum and or supports differentiation of learning for students so teachers can enrich, remediate, or intervene. Again, we have a strong meets and one that signified does not meet expectations. Does someone have clarification or a question? Okay. Moving along. Uses current relevant technology that further engages interactive learning and can be used in the classroom and beyond. This one has an overwhelming does not meet because this is a print resource only, used in intervention with mostly small group aligned to their intervention objective. Did anyone want to discuss or have a question as far as the use of technology?
Even though it did not have technology, I saw how the scripted format was very similar to our RH, and that would help anybody who is intervening have a format and a consistency to that.
Welcome, Clarion. It's nice to see you. No, scoot up. Scoot up. Thank you. Here, we'll scoot this way. Thank you. I appreciate you joining us. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Clarion Rasmussen. I used to teach here last year. I was in the district for 3 years. Hi, I'm Clarion Rasmussen. I taught here for 3 years, but I've taught 7 years altogether, and I'm home with my 3 little ones, and my oldest is in kindergarten at Las Brisas. So, yay.
Another parent slash teacher slash educator. Whoop, whoop. All right. Okay, any other comments? This is a criteria that we're looking into adjusting because not all resources need to have a technology component to be effective and efficient. So now we are on additional comments. So I have ready was the technology resource. This has the component needed for strong intervention lessons. I wish there were more interactive components rather than a book. One area that may be, oh, I am so sorry. Oh, look, I got it. Thank you. One area that may need to be supplemented is the sight word area. It does not include any focus for the phonemes already known to a student, which would require less memorization. Also, the lessons appear to focus on sight words needed to read the attached story. Additional practice would be needed to foster mastery. I really appreciate that this program has such a comprehensive lesson plan for the teachers to follow, and that the program is set up to utilize multiple checkpoints in order to meet individual students' needs, even in a group setting. And this would be a great intervention program for older 3rd through 12th struggling readers who lack reading skills. I don't think this program is suitable for younger struggling readers. Oh gosh, sorry. This program includes review of targeted sounds, continuous review of sounds, decodable words, challenge words, and connected text in one lesson. They really appreciate that this program includes slides to accompany each lesson and that they also include teeth and tongue placement for help in teaching correct letter sounds. And giving teachers more tools in the toolbox to help our learners can only improve instruction. And then great resource. Any further discussion on phonics for reading?
Just that additional comment where it's talking about the tongue placement, that is with the other program.
Okay. Our next agenda item is 1.5, discussion of U-Fly Foundations, an explicit phonics program. U-Fly Foundations is an explicit and systematic program that teaches students the foundational skills necessary for proficient reading. It follows a carefully developed scope and sequence designed to ensure that students systematically acquire each skill needed and learn to apply each skill with automaticity and confidence. The program is designed to be used for core instruction in the primary grades or for intervention with struggling students in any grade. This primary use of this resource would be reading intervention as well. So we're going to go through the results. At any time you want to discuss or you have a comment or a question, please speak up in a microphone. So, is aligned to Arizona high academic learning standards. We have a strong meets and exceeds. Comment? Okay. Research shows that the program or materials are evidence-based. Again, overwhelming meets and exceeds. Any discussion? Keep going. Okay. Is appropriate for the subject area for the age, emotional development, ability level, learning styles, and social development of students. Here we have an overwhelming exceeds and meets. Our next result is fills gaps in curriculum and or supports differentiation of learning for students so teachers can enrich, remediate, or intervene. Again, overwhelming meets and exceeds. Can I make it? Absolutely.
So one of the things that I really appreciated about the U-Fly program that I was able to see is that we could easily incorporate it into our walk to read, which all our schools have, and it would be wonderful to have continuity across every classroom. So if I have a group and somebody really flies in that section, I could send them to Ms. Giles, who is teaching another skill, but her program also comes from U-Fly, and the routine would be the same. It would be very seamless. The content would be a little different, the target skill, but everybody would have the same language, the students would have the same routines. It would just have such power on a campus. So I just wanted to make that point because I think that's one thing that we struggle with. We don't have something that can hit all of the different components we're looking for.
Anyone else? Okay. Our next criteria was uses current relevant technology that further engages interactive learning and can be used in the classroom and beyond. Here we also have a strong meets and exceeds and one that says does not meet expectation. Any discussion or question or clarification? I have to get better at my pauses. Okay, additional comments. Let's see if I can, am I doing this right? Okay. This resource has many of the strategies that we've been learning about for effective reading instruction, and more importantly, connects them all in each lesson. The cost is minimal, $70 per manual, because all of the supporting resources are free. One of the biggest strengths I see in UFly is that it supports teachers in developing their knowledge base of the English language while simultaneously supporting growth in students. Note, I gave the resource a meet score for evidence-based because the results have not been fully published yet. It is research-based, but it is in the process of releasing the supporting documentation related to their effective size outcome. The implementation video provided by UFly shares the effect size growth, which is considerable, but it is unpublished as of this date. It should be released very soon, according to the creators. I like that the lessons build background knowledge to support the students' later acquisition and mastery of skill. I also like the home practice. Okay, let's make sure I don't mess this up. The other way? Okay, there we go. Love the numerous resources available with this. I wish that I would have been able to look at a teacher's manual, but I was happy with what I did see. I do have a manual here today. This program includes Google Slides, lesson plans to follow, direct practice of sounds, blending, home practice, and decodable text. I appreciate that this program includes slides to accompany each lesson for the teacher, as well as including teeth and tongue placement to assist in learning correct letter sounds. Great technology, interactive word mats are fantastic for students. Parent Connection newsletter clearly highlights and explains all skills. So many additional resources. Solid program with multiple stage approach to instruction. This resource looks incredible. Resources aligned and easy accessed to targeted skills. I like the Google Slides provided along with passages, homework, and it's very explicit. Any further discussion on UFly?
I just want to say that I think the benefit of something like this, like Carol was saying, that it provides consistency, but also to our new incoming teachers who don't have the background knowledge in reading. I think about them during our walk to read time, and I've sat in so many PLCs where they're like, I don't know what resource to use. And so this would give a solid lesson. It takes the guesswork out of giving a second round of explicit instruction to our neediest learners, well, all of our learners. So
I think it's an excellent program. And what I liked was with Reading Horizons, we do our lesson. And then sometimes we do need to do reteaching. And it's a hands-on. Those kids need to be in there moving the letter sounds, moving the tiles. It also works great, I think, for small group. And in addition to that, it's definitely going to have some influence on writing as well. And I cannot say enough about the parent component. I'm really about the parents as one of the team members. And if they don't understand what I'm doing in the classroom, to give their child, that knowledge that they need to move forward in reading, maybe they want to help, but they won't help. And then maybe those who are just not interested in helping the homework, this comes by them on the table and they're like, oh, I can do this. So.
Parents, would you like to comment or?
Well, that's what I liked about this program too. It really lays it out because I think a lot of parents really want to help as much as they can, but they don't know how to start. And if I have a speech delayed child that's about to go into kindergarten, and that's why I got really interested in phonics to begin with. But having it all laid out for me to where anybody could go through it is really helpful. So I really appreciate that.
All right, let's move on to the next agenda item, 1.6, discussion of Hal Leonard's Essential Elements Music class.
I'm just going to hold on to this.
This is our in-house music expert. So Hal Leonard's Hal Leonard's EE music class provides exclusive resources for music classrooms. Their song library includes elementary music standards, popular music, and Disney favorites, all professionally arranged and professionally recorded specifically with elementary music classrooms in mind. We offer 180 fully developed sequential lessons that seamlessly integrate social-emotional learning competencies and music skills vertically aligned to various age levels. In addition, EEMC includes a wealth of growing resources, including a library of Hal Leonard's digital books, full recorder and ukulele methods, as well as hundreds of worksheets and online activities. So, this primary use of this resource would be music class. So our first descriptor is aligned to Arizona high academic learning standards, and this overwhelmingly meets and exceeds that standard. Research shows that the program or materials are evidence-based. Here we've got 50-50 with meets and exceeds and then not meeting.
To speak to that point, this is primarily a database. So it isn't really based on research because these are songs that are created related to each musical concept. And at that point, we're not going to be taking a standardized test on that. As far as the instruction goes, it aligns so many of the standards to each one of those songs, each one of those resources. So many of our classes are getting ukuleles, have world drums, have keyboards, and it has resources from that, and that has been that will be an incredible resource for those teachers, especially that we don't have an adopted music curriculum to have a supplemental resource to build those that provides songs that are relevant to our kids and that are connecting across subject areas is really great there. So is there evidence? You're going to see it in performance.
Is appropriate for the subject area and for the age, emotional development, ability level, learning styles, and social development of students. Here again, we have an overwhelming meets and some exceeds with one does not meet. Anyone have a question, clarification needed?
There's a couple other things that come along with this program, and especially for our older students, it's going to be a really great resource. It's called Soundtrap and Note Flight, and those.
Yeah.
Oh, with your microphone. Sorry.
My daughter used this when she was doing an after-school program with Fender through LA Unified, and it was fun. She did a lot of music building and creating her own beats and music on that program.
Yeah, this is definitely going to give our kids the opportunity to put music in their own hands instead of it just being teacher-led instruction. It's going to be student-led and project-based, which is really, really cool.
Okay. Fills gaps in curriculum and or supports differentiation of learning for students so teachers can enrich, remediate, or interpret. Uses current relevant technology that further engages interactive learning and can be used in classrooms and beyond. Again, overwhelming meets and exceeds.
So almost every single, sorry, I'm very excited about it. Almost every single slide or song comes with a slide that does it karaoke style, but also shows the music with the notation. And there's recordings of students singing it, and then instrumental accompaniments. And then if you're singing in a foreign language, there's usually an aspect of pronunciation, and there is a huge depth of different languages, which I think all of our students can benefit from. So to have that, and then to be able to give them the resource to manipulate themselves, it's a win-win.
Okay, additional comments. I would like to have seen a sample of the SEL portion of the lesson. I couldn't tell if it included any of the core competencies of SEL: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, or relationship skills. Interested in the music program teaching sight words. I did not see any research or evidence-based data on the website pages. I found numerous music instructors online that have reviewed this program and rave about its ease of use and flexibility. This resource gives teachers and students multiple ways of engaging in music class: singing, composing, listening, and thinking critically. Supports all music standards and gives teachers a database of songs to choose from that is continuously being updated and categorized by grade level skill and musical concept. Okay. Musical concept. Daily lessons. I couldn't open all the resources. Lots of variety of lessons to use. So any further discussion or questions for our in-house music expert?
I think it's also a great resource if we have a guest teacher in the building. Very self-explanatory for them. The teacher will be able to prep for them very easily, and I think the kids being engaged will also help that substitute to keep those students on task and target.
Anyone else? Okay, all right, now it's time for the big decisions. Agenda item 1.7, recommendations for governing board to consider approval for 60-day public review. The committee will discuss and determine whether or not the recommended Phonics for Reading, U-Fly Foundations, an explicit and systematic phonics program, and Hal Leonard's Essential Elements music class for governing board approval for 60-day public review. So this is how we're going to do it. First, we're going to vote for Phonics for Reading. A thumbs up means yes, I recommend Phonics for Reading for governing board approval for 60-day public review. I have a tongue twister there. Thumbs to the side means I can live with it. Thumbs down means I do not recommend it for public review. Okay? Okay, so Phonics for Reading. Show me, please. What is your recommendation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 out of 14, either yes, recommend it, or absolutely they can live with it. I had 0, no, we do not recommend it. Woohoo! Next one, U-Fly Foundations, an explicit and systematic phonics program. Show me. Do you recommend it? No. 14 out of 14. We are recommending that for board approval. And then Hal Leonard's Essential Elements music class. Do you recommend? Wow. I'll do this committee all the time, Tasha. 14 out of 14 will recommend for governing board approval for the 60-day public review. Wow, that was a lot easier than I thought. This is awesome. Last agenda item, 1.8, adjournment of the meeting. I wanted to personally thank you guys. I know you've had a long day and it was a PD day. Thank you for taking your time out to support this committee. Parents, Love it. Please come back as much and as often as possible. We are scheduling another one of these, so please be watching your email. And have a wonderful day. I would like to adjourn the meeting at 5:05.